Okay, here we go for our 11th gathering. It is the 11th, right? So
Yes.
first, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Just to introduce myself, that is welcome to everyone. Koti moanga o raki, koti awa is Waimakariri, koti iwi Pakiha, koti whānau Smith. So first, I introduced my mountain. We always start with the mountain where everything flows from, my river, my family, and who I am. So welcome everyone, and looking forward to the next 24 hours, and we'll see how we go. So just first, to get the day started, I just want to offer something of a blessing, and then I'll translate that. Ngā mihi o te rā, ki whanau te huahua ni, ki ti rangi marae, ki ti whakatapu tato, mi ngā mia, ia whakapono a tato, hua mai te hua mai te take e, which is basically welcome to everyone who's gathered here. Peace be with us, and let's respect each other and our beliefs. So now I want to pass it over to Jerry and Elizabeth and Brock, because I think we've got something special we want to kick this day off
and
with.
also Katie, daughter, can come in as well, and Lisa and Tom, his family. Ted Gordon should be remembered not only as a gentle giant, as people seem to think that's a nice way of characterizing him, but also he was a primary influence at the Rand Corporation, moving speculation about the future. Someone want to turn down their audio? Thank you. He helped move futures research from relatively smart people speculating about the future to organized systems, from the Delphi, of course, cross-impact analysis and technology sequence analysis and other sort of methods. And that contribution, the Millennium Project hopes to carry on, because an awful lot of futures work today is just giving people little sticky notes and saying, put them up under different ideas, which, is sort of nice, but it's not what you'd call futures research. And Ted was as much of a master of that as anybody in history that I know of. It was a nice point brought out well by some of his colleagues at the Futures Group. Ted was at the Douglas Aircraft Corporation, and he was involved as a consultant from Douglas, because Douglas got the contract to start the Rand Corporation. So he was sort of like a bridge between the two a bit. But then after that, he started with another group of people, the Institute for the Future, and I see that Paul Sappho is here, who's got some feet in that phenomena, or had some feet in that phenomena. And then Ted moved on to create the first for-profit futures think tank. And that went on for a while. And then he had the idea that we should do this Millennium Project. And so that's gone on for a while. So he is, I have not totally adjusted to the idea that he's no longer here. Psychological denial is a well-known psychological phenomenon, and I've suffered from that a little bit. But he's a wonderful person, a very good, not only a methodological influence to the field, but also character. And often, a lot of people in the consulting world have got a lot of hubris. They sort of like beat their chest and think they're the smartest cat in town. Now, Ted might very well have been the smartest cat in town, but he doesn't beat his chest. And somebody had pointed out that he was almost embarrassed with his fame. I don't remember who said that, but I think it's a true statement. I remember we did some stuff up together in the future in the beginning of the beginning of the Millennium Project, and some people there says, "Boy, it's an honor to be with you all." And he's going, "Oh, don't be like that." um, but character is something that really should be underscored a lot in futures research, more than just posted notes on a blackboard. So with that, I'll turn over to Elizabeth because it's 1 o'clock her time over there.
Yeah, but for Ted, anytime. It's he's timeless. Listen, he's timeless, and I'm glad that you mentioned his character, because yes, there are many geniuses. Well, there aren't many geniuses, but Ted was a genius, and usually geniuses are difficult to approach, or they have that aura around, and not everyone can talk to them, or they don't talk to. Well, it wasn't Ted.
Right.
Ted was exactly as you said. Sometimes he didn't even want to accept all the credits that were given to him. He was so extremely modest and so extremely nice, and not judgmental at all. I mean, he wasn't one of those that, hey, I understand everything, and why are you so dumb you don't? Never gave people the impression that he knows it. And even when he didn't agree with something, he didn't argue against. He said, "Is that so?" When he wasn't sure about something, or that you were not right, he was just, "Is that so?" And that was a kind of the tone on which he said that, "Is that so?" For those who knew him, was already, oh, I might be wrong. It wasn't that he didn't know about it. Well, sometimes if it was a new subject, yes, it wasn't. And for him, there was no such thing as, oh, this is impossible, or so. It was always a challenge. When a problem came up, it wasn't that it doesn't have a solution. I never heard that saying that, well, we can not do it. It
Yeah.
was just a new challenge that he was very happy to take up. Do the future of a domain he never studied before, fine. In no time, he became almost expert in the domain. He understood everything extremely fast. And then he developed a way, a method or something to bring that subject, to study the future of that subject. And he always, if it wasn't a method already for that, or he didn't find in the existing method, he invented one. And that was the challenge. He always found solutions, but he had an extraordinary personality. I mean, he was the nicest person anyone can think of, and supportive. An extraordinary mentor, and never gave the impression that, hey, you didn't study hard enough or fast enough. But you kind of did get the impression, and was pushing without pushing. It was by his way of being. And I understood that even better when I had the honor to be in their house for about a week or so. It was such a harmony and love in that house that it was almost touchable. It was extraordinary, and it was creative and loving, and everything had to be done together. Dinner time, everybody together. It's exercise time, everybody together. And I always thought about myself that I'm an organized person until I have seen Ted. Wow, didn't I have a lot to learn from him? I mean, each minute of the day was programmed, and it had a target, and you had to meet it by that time. I mean, you had to do it. It was a job that had to be done by 3:15. by 3:15 you had to be done, and somehow he managed that we did it. And he was already in his 70s at that time, and I was in my 40s. I couldn't keep up running with him. At 3:30 or something like that was running time in the woods, because his house was in a wooden area, and Annie realized that I struggle running. So she said, "You know what? You and Frank, you will run, and Elizabeth and I, we walk." I couldn't keep up with him. It was, but it was an absolute pleasure to talk to him about anything, not just methodologies, not just foresight, not just science. He was interested about music, about art, about history, and lately very much about geopolitics. Most of our emails in this last month or so, it was about geopolitics. What do nations think? That was the rhetoric question that came up. I would like to welcome his children. We are very honored that you joined us, and I would like you to also tell us some words about your extraordinary father, and how was he as a father? Because we had the honor and privilege to work with him. How was he as a father? And then probably Paul Sappho would like to also say some words, and anyone else who had the privilege of working with Ted.
Hi, Tom, are you there too?
Yeah. Go ahead, Katie.
I don't know if I got my camera on, but I don't have me on, so I'm going to stop that for a sec. Why don't you go first till I get my camera working?
Well, while you're doing that, just very quickly to the other people that just came in that may not know the history of the Millennium Project. The co-founder of the Millennium Project, Ted Gordon, he just passed away. So we're just giving tribute to him before we sort of like go into the whole Futures Day. Yeah, go ahead.
So first of all, I want to thank everybody for the heartfelt warmth that we've been receiving. It's very touching hearing from all of you with all of your comments and stories of you and my father's dealings. It was really touching and just amazing at how many people he dealt with, throughout his many careers. But to us, he was dad and good at a lot of things. It was hard to keep up with him, as Elizabeth said. One of the big benefits of living with such an intelligent person was helping getting through school. He wanted to look at the papers. He saved many of our papers through high school and college. But one of the most memorable education lessons was where he taught me about spreadsheets before spreadsheets were a thing. I was in maybe junior high school, suffering with a poster that compared different civil wars, and I kept messing it up as my handwriting was poor. And he said, no, you got to build a matrix out of this thing, and you got to do it with index cards so that when you screw up, you can put another one in. He was well ahead of the game. This was early 70s, I guess, and that's the way it was in the house. Sunday evenings were spent together at dinner, playing the what if game. But we all invented different scenarios and then talked about how they would impact our lives. And we just kind of grew up in that environment. It was great. We miss him, and it's still hard for me to talk about it, but thank you all. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, it's been extremely gratifying, rewarding, and heartfelt for us to read the tributes. And, we're all very much following what people have to say, and then, copying and exchanging. All the support is totally amazing. And, I have to say, when our dad got sick about a month and a half ago, he was like, well, wait a minute, I got some things I have to finish up on the Millennium Project. And
Right.
help me log
Right.
on. And there's just no way I'm gonna let these loose ends not get finished up just the way he was. Just to Tom's really gave some good insights, and I back that up 100%. We're always come from a house, but we thought that was normal. People would be discussing politics together as a family, Sunday night. And it was always my dad kind of mirroring what Elizabeth said. He'd be like, well, what do you think about that? Like, how can you come to dinner without having an opinion on this topic, or, the war or whatever, but not in a way that would belittle you, in a way that would be like trying to bring out your best in a debate. And I just wanted to add one other point I was discussing with some of the family members a little while ago, which is, my dad never, I'm in the biotech field, and, I've always pursued education and, college and a career, and, went to just, when people would say, well, didn't you experience any workplace issues, being female, this and that? And I'm like, never even occurred to me that would be an issue. That's sort of my dad's basic, and my mom too, basic family upbringing is like, of course you could do it. Anybody can do whatever they want. So that's really what we were, and you're saying a little bit of the same thing in a different context, but that's the basis for, kind of the environment we grew up in. But I'm sure I'll jump in with a few things later, but we wanted to thank everybody for being his, current family with us.
Paul, you want to say some words?
I muted it so you don't hear any
Sure.
calls in the background.
Yeah, well, there's one small detail. If Ted was with us right now, he would probably go,
Excuse me.
Yeah. So background is I almost crossed paths with Ted when I was a little kid. The neighbor across the street gave me, when I was 8 years old, gave me this book, Ted's book, The Future. And the neighbor happened to be Ted's boss, a gentleman named Don Douglas, who founded Douglas Aircraft. And I think this was the first adult book that I read, sort of first management book. And of course it played a crucial role sending me down my path. And incidentally, at IFTF, while Roy Amara knew Ted, the folks who followed Roy Amara, IFTF was a peculiar place. It didn't network much. And I think I'm the only person there who actually knew Ted in any personal level. But I remember, after I became a so-called futurist and was doing stuff and became friends with Ted, I had said to him on more than one occasion, I really wish I'd met you when I was a little kid, Ted, especially around the time of the future game. And he paused and he said, no, actually, you really wouldn't have. I was kind of a jerk. I was arrogant, and I still don't believe it. But it's typical of his nature to have said that. By the way, on the future game, there is one on eBay right now. They just started a bid. It's not pristine condition, but if anybody is interested, it's there. But without a doubt, Ted had an extraordinary impact, way beyond all the expected places. And as I said to him on more than one occasion, I hold him responsible for me ending up in this field. Oh, by the way, if you want me to share a screen, can I share screen, Elizabeth?
We have to make you a co-host, I think. Or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
never mind. I'll put it up. I've got I'm not sure everybody's seen it, a wonderful picture of Ted and Olaf Helmer and
Oh,
and
that's
their
worth
share,
showing.
Paul.
I'll
Paul, you
make you
can share.
co-host. Hold on a second.
Paul, you can share.
it's just such a classic picture and
Yeah. Okay, you should be able to do that now.
perfect. Okay, let me find it here.
And by the way, what is coming up? I was going to add that myself, by the way.
Oh, good.
Is that Ted, in the early days of his career at Douglas, had told me that they picked out some of the young folks because they thought they would become senior executives, and they took them out to like training to become more generous, cool, sophisticated, kind, all that sort of stuff, and focus on what needs to get done. And so, yeah, you take a look at this photograph, and this is personality 1.0, not personality 3.0 that we're talking about today. But look at it. Ted's there with a pipe, like, I am here.
Yep, good. I'll stop sharing. And let us
Okay.
not forget that even before he published his book, The Future, Time Magazine had listed him as one of the 100, quote, red hot young Americans to watch out for. So he was an early starter. And I always loved it best. There was one time I was 10, we were talking to someone, details don't matter. And it's a classic Ted line. He said, well, yes, actually, I am a rocket scientist.
Right.
I'll
Yeah,
shut
I've
up.
had a lot of fun sometimes. You're introducing the Millennium Project somewhere, and I would say, well, when someone says it doesn't take rocket science to do this, I say, yes, it does, and there he is.
And I will throw it out to the group. I would love to know whatever happened to the full-size model of the future game layout board.
Oh boy. I guess you got to go back to who was it? Was it Reynolds? No, I forgot the company.
Well, it was a big part of Reynolds Aluminum, but I think I will bet you it's in a warehouse in Culver City somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I
if
will
could-
shut up and let someone else talk.
If I could jump in, Paul, Sappho, and I were just going over the archives of the Stanford Research Institute and came across this Handbook of Futures Methods from 1975, which mentions Ted very prominently in his work in 1965
Right.
on cross impact analysis and various other methods that are mentioned here. And I would remind people that the Millennium Project has a handbook of futures methods that we're hoping to update sometime soon. And the last conversations I had with Ted last year was he was inventing a new method. He had this new idea of using AI to create an infinite number of future scenarios and to analyze them in some way and to help people visualize future scenarios. And so right up to the end, he was still inventing, still thinking of new ways of doing things. And hopefully we'll continue that legacy. Some of the group from Brazil, I don't know if anyone's here on this.
Yeah, he's here. Gus is down there.
Is Gus
Yeah,
Gustavo?
he's there. He's yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
You want to describe what you guys are doing during World Futures Day with your methodology?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Brock. So, hi everyone, and yeah, it's a honor to basically be here and all basically listening to all these stories that are really amazing. So. We've been talking to Jeremy Rosa, who's the director of the Brazilian Notes, as well as my partner in crime, Diego. He's an AI specialist, and basically we had this vision to basically have a tribute in honor to Jeremy and Ted's long-term partnership. So why not? What if we join this great methodologies such as the Futures Wheel, created by Jeremy in 1971. I was 2 years old by that time, and the CIA, the cross impact analysis, created by Ted and Olaf Helmer in
We'd like not to
1966.
abbreviate that too clearly. Cross impact analysis is a good thing to say. Let's keep the abbreviation out. It can be
Yeah, I
too
know.
easily misunderstood.
Oh yes, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah,
Right.
not get into this. Yeah, and yeah. So thanks, Jeremy. Yeah. So basically, Brock, we we found out that it's a great way to use AI to augment these tools. So what is possible to accomplish is basically similar to the regular Futures Wheel. You basically start off with a topic, and then using AI you can create the first impact consequences, and the second one, and the third one, and by the end you have the cross impact analysis um, as a table matrix, and works. Yeah, it works well. We can maybe share the link here in the chat, and you guys can try it out later after the event. Would be great to have some feedback about what we can improve, any questions and concerns. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, Brock.
So should we turn it back over and begin the regular meeting? Turn it back over to Dave.
Before that,
I think you don't hear me.
can I still, because it was mentioned what Ted was working lately, and very few people know about the what if, because Tom mentioned that, yes, even at home he was playing the what if. I didn't know that the what if goes so far back, because lately, I don't know, a few years ago, he created the database, the what if, that has now over 1,000 items in it, headlines. And so what for the future? Do you have the passwords and everything for that to continue? Because that's extraordinary. It would be a pity to be lost.
I've got his generic password, but for some reason it brings up everything in the real-time Delphi, his software. But I didn't get the if then coming up. So I don't know. He must have used a different.
No, because
naming for
it's a
that one.
completely different platform. Yes, I have it for the RTD. I have it too for the real-time
All right.
Delphi.
So
Right.
all right. You can get access to the if then.
Admin. Yes, I have the admin, all the
Good,
admin
okay.
data, but and on my laptop
one of
that
the-
is in Canada, I also had the whole
Yeah.
copy of it. I could even do corrections and so, but now I don't have it with me in Europe. So it was a
Because
mirror
because
of Ted's.
Right. The reason I bring this up is that one of the things we would like to do, as we discussed at the last planning committee meeting, is to, and in the Delphi as well, was to take all of the Millennium Project stuff, methods, content, everything, state of the future indexes, etc., and including Ted's what if, stick it all into a large language model,
Mhm.
and then have a little MP GPT. And that was one of the conversations I had with Gus, but then they got on his other stuff too, but hopefully we can eventually get to that. Because I think that we should have, because you know, in AI, having everything in the world has its advantages, but also has its disadvantages. But having very no focus, because there are some now GPTs in medical fields and other sort of fields, and having the content really sharp and good is a increasing phenomena now more. So we should do that. I think some others are beginning to talk about doing that too, by the way, in the futures field.
Yeah, that would be great, Jeremy. So again, we are we can discuss this
Right.
afterwards, and yeah, would be amazing as well.
Is
Thank you very
Elisa
much.
Greenspan part of the family? Is Lisa Greenspan part of that
Lisa.
family?
Yes, Lisa. Yeah.
I am the quiet daughter. Sorry, Katie. Yeah,
Well, if we
thanks
go
everyone
ahead.
for your comments. I'm Lisa from Philadelphia. Lovely to hear these stories and the tributes. I have a funny story that, you know, my siblings and I, we've been together a lot lately, you know, especially after my dad died, and we started telling stories. And one was, hey, you know, when was the last time you talked to Dad about a moral issue? What, you know, I raised it because I had a recent conversation, and everyone had a similar conversation with him, and he was who we went to. Even though we kind of knew the answer, it was really nice to hear from him, his view, his opinion, and then there would always be a twinkle in his eye, and he would say something like, "You knew the right answer, didn't you?" And he was like a moral compass, and we're all going to miss him a lot.
Yes, his ethical values were extremely, extremely high. And what's interesting is that he was very severe with himself, and I don't know, probably with his children also, but he was extremely forgiving with all the others. He was not judgmental at all. I never heard him say anything not bad, but at least degrading or so about someone, or something negative about someone. He was very forgiving with all the others, but very, very exigent with himself. Made no compromises and had extremely, extremely high ethical values. Lately, probably last year, he began bugging us to, me and Yair. We wrote a few books about terrorism and so together, to write one about ethics and security. So where is all this governance and peace and so going, and what do nations think? That's the it would have been an interesting but very difficult subject. I don't know if we can do it without him, but that would have been, for peace and security, it would have been a very interesting book, considering his ethical values.
But you're absolutely right that he would consider nothing to be a challenge that couldn't be pursued, right? I mean, there's a what if, and then there's a why not, because, you know, he would always, you know, it's a worldwide question, but, you know, here's how we could break it down. You know, obviously, it can't be that big of a challenge. We just divide it into pieces and we're pragmatically approaching it. Anyway, that would have been very interesting. He was always so excited about his projects too. You know, that what he was working on lately on different kinds of futures in the Millennium Project and other things he's working on. He was so excited to talk about it. And let me show you this. Let me show you that. And what do you think of this?
Exactly.
How can we approach this? How can we bring more people in? How can we frame these questions? How can we bring the best out in people?
And it was a contagious enthusiasm. It was impossible not to be enthusiastic about it when he the way he put the problem. Yeah.
I
Like,
think he
no, I'm
couldn't
not-
say no somehow. You know, he was so stimulated by ideas and possibilities and stuff that, you know, he found a piece of time to read your paper, to give you a suggestion, to, you know, do whatever he could. I don't know if he lived like 48 hours per day or whatever, but, you know, he was always present to, you know, help you somehow. So I would like to say just one little thing. I think I represent Italy here. Simone wanted to be here, but couldn't. And Simone Di Zio was very close with Ted, and they were doing research together. But Ted also gave suggestions to me, and I was so proud, to have him answering my emails. And I really think that it was, I wrote it somewhere, one of the most, stimulating, but also gentle people I have ever met. So really, because you're here, the sons of Ted, I just wanted to say that. I don't know him as close as Elizabeth or Jerome or whatever. I met him sometimes, but really, you could always find suggestions and help and support from Ted. So this is really special, in my opinion, from a person, like him. So, impactful, intelligent, stimulating, and so forth. So this is my 2 cents for Ted, and we all miss him so much, really. I mean, there is a sort of hole, and we will try to fill it by, multiplying his effect in the present and in the future. At least I hope so. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. That was
Good. So should
very.
we begin to?
But
turn it
one
back
final
over to
thing,
Dave?
and
Yeah.
one final thing, in Elizabeth, when my father would have an idea and present it to us, we would give him reasons why not. It was difficult to do. It was hard. We didn't have time or whatever. And his favorite line was, "Just do it.
Right.
Do it." And that was about many things in life, and not just his work. So I'll leave you with that.
That was before Nike picked the phrase up.
Absolutely.
Right. Don't quit. Good idea. Yeah, that's right. Okay, Dave.
Thank you so much.
Well, I just want to say that even if we close here the official tribute to Ted, all the rest will be, because when we speak about future methodologies,
Sure.
when we speak about ideas
right.
and everything, it's Ted imprints everywhere. So
Right.
you cannot do future studies without Ted. It's
Right.
Ted imprints will be always there in future studies forever. In
I think
whatever,
Paul
so
said
even
that,
if his
yeah.
name doesn't come up immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I think many of us, I mean, at least me for sure, again, made future studies because some papers written by Ted, Delphi, real-time Delphi, whatever, cross-impact analysis and so forth. So, I mean, he left an imprinting on all of us somehow, and this is really precious, really. So.
Right. Do we want to step into the general conversation, huh?
Yep.
That was yeah, that was, I wish I'd had a chance to talk to him. It just sounded just an amazing mix of characteristics and intellect and empathy and everything else. So yeah. So I see